in mosques that are holding services mourning Iran's supreme leader. Of course, was killed in joint US and Israeli airstrikes. At least 4 mosques in Sydney are calling on their communities to participate in 3 days of mourning to, quote, honour the martyrdom of His Eminence, the guardian jurist and supreme leader of the Islamic Revolution. Premier Chris Minns says such services are atrocious, adding, by any objective measure, the Ayatollah was evil. For their take, let's bring in broadcaster Justin Smith and the founding director of Western Sydney Women, Amanda Rose. Morning to you. Justin, your reaction?
Honestly, you wonder if the people that were doing the praying for the memory of the Ayatollah were also doing the praying for all of his victims. I mean, it's just... it's disgusting, and it doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help people who are petrified of extremism, and it certainly doesn't help the Muslims who are trying to live in peace as well. I'd just say to the people that are doing the praying is don't be surprised and don't whinge when ASIO come knocking on your door and you're being monitored.
Amanda, what consequences should there be? Because under religious freedom laws, apparently these can be held, but you've got the Premier saying it's terrible.
Yeah, well, I think it's a bit arrogant of the Premier to say to a religious organisation, you can't mourn your spiritual leader, right? Because that's essentially what they're doing. Whether you agree with what they stood for or not, is he going to do it to the Catholic Church, to Buddhists, to synagogues and to other things if their leaders are doing something he doesn't agree with?
Is there a difference, though, when he's accused of murdering 30,000 people and executing young boys who may be gay?
Well, hang on a minute. But they called him a tyrant, right? But a tyrant is someone who bombs a school and kills 160 children, which is what happened in Iran recently when America and Israel bombed Iran, right? So that's tyrant behaviour. Or when the IDF flattened Gaza and 60,000 people were killed, that's a tyrant activity. So if you're going to condemn one group for killing, condemn everyone for all killing around the world, right? Don't just pick one religion or one group and say, I condemn what you've done and you can't mourn, the death of your spiritual leader when other countries and religions have killed also.
OK, so is it, do you talk about, he did this, she did this, he did this, or do we concentrate on this person this week? Don't
be a hypocrite is what I'm saying with Minns. Okay, so condemn everything if you're going to do it.
Do you call the Ayatollah a tyrant?
I think most world leaders are tyrants in one way or another.
OK, let's concentrate on him because it's
Amanda,
leading the news around the world.
Just a sec, Justin. The Ayatollah was one of the worst people in the world. I'm sorry, Nat.
I'll get to you in just a sec, but do you call the Ayatollah a tyrant?
I don't particularly like the way he did business and how he ran the country. I mean, you've got to look at the history of who put him in there and what happened. But the reality is I don't have to agree with him and their religion, right? But I also don't agree with a politician telling someone who they can and can't mourn when it was their spiritual leader.
It's a pretty easy question.
Well, I think he's a tyrant in his behaviour, yes, but, with oppression. But you've got to understand that when it comes to global leaders, at the very top, they all essentially are tyrants. I've called Trump one, and I said he's got a God complex because he just decides I'm going to bomb a country because I think I've got the moral superiority to do so.
So you think they're the same?
Yes, I do.
OK, Justin?
No, Nat, and Amanda, I know that you're making good points about people suffering all around the world, but the Ayatollah and the people who have been running Iran for a very, very long time have been making people suffer, good people suffer in Iran for decades. And he's not just a tyrant, he's a bloody murderer. And he's been killing people, and that regime has been killing people and torturing people and oppressing people for an incredibly long time. To stand up somewhere and pray for him and praise him as a martyr is a step way too far.
But that's their right to pray for him. But you talk about killing people. Just remember that the US has bombed 8 countries in 1 year for someone who said, I'm going to end all wars, right? And there have been thousands, hundreds of thousands of people have died. In America, there are people with homelessness, drug addiction, there's suicide rate, you've got the Epstein files, you've got pedophiles. Why doesn't Trump focus on his own country and sort that out?
OK, I ask you this then. What would you have done with Iran? Would you have left Iran the way it is?
put it this way, I would not have bombed a country as a preemptive strike to say, oh, they could bomb us one day. They might hit us with a nuclear weapon, which they said they got rid of, but all of a sudden now it's back and they've bombed it again. But, you know, I wouldn't be saying, oh, let's go and bomb a country because I'm worried they're going to bomb us. Well, guess what? There are other countries with nuclear weapons too. Is the US going to go and bomb Russia, North Korea, because they've got nuclear weapons and they're technically a threat using the same logic?
Justin?
Well, I think we'd be criticising the rest of the world, not just the United States, but the rest of the world, including ourselves, if we did nothing about Iran. If we did nothing about Iran, we would have learnt absolutely zero from history. You can't leave these kind of regimes in place. You can't allow them to get nuclear weapons. And look,
Russia can have them, North Korea can have them, Israel can have them, America can have them, but not Iran.
Yeah, but they've already got them. They've already got them.
So we can't go around. You've got them.
Yeah, but let's be no. But hang on. I'm not saying that they should have them. I'm saying that they've already got them. What would you do? Bomb the entire country of Russia to wipe that out? That just wouldn't work. What you're trying to do is stop a regime that's proven to be incredibly destructive, proven to foster terrorism and extremism, and to try and take them out. Now, it's not going to be perfect. Far from it. It's not going to be perfect. But let's just not forget the regime. Let's not forget the regime that we're talking about here. Let's not forget about Iran and just exactly what they have been like over the last few decades.
Yeah, and funding, you know, proxy terror groups around the world that have brought terror to our shores. Tell us what you think, because obviously, you know, there are people in this country that want to mourn the Ayatollah. Thank you very much for your views today. Here's your